Hi everyone, and welcome into our Tokyo Internships webinar here with CRCC Asia. My name is Tyler DeVici. I'm one of the U.S. admissions advisors for our students bound for several locations, one of which being Tokyo. So I am very excited to have some time here to chat with you about the opportunities that exist within Tokyo. We're going to talk about some of the internship fields, some of the reasons why a student would choose Tokyo out of any other location for their career goals, their internship goals, and obviously talk about some of the great things that the city and the country of Japan does have to offer. Tokyo is one of our 2 Japan locations. We've already talked about Osaka a few weeks ago. So again, this is actually going to be the last webinar in our series. So if you do want to check out any of the other 9 locations, please go ahead and check out our website, our YouTube page actually. We do have a webinar series with all the other locations overviewed. So again, without further ado, let's talk a little bit more about Tokyo. So there's a couple reasons why a student would choose an internship abroad over some other type of program. The one that's most commonly compared would be a study abroad. So that would involve going to a university in another country and getting class experience, whereas the CRCC Asia internship program does revolve around that internship component. So practical work experience in your field of study, getting some skills and exposure to the industry within another country, and really hoping to try to, brush up on that resume, that CV, and of course gain some connections. There's many reasons. Of course, I wouldn't dare take the time to list all of them as there's so many, but I kind of list 4 that I feel like are the strongest and most apparent reasons. The first one that's pretty obvious, but I think a lot of people do overlook it, is to gain a new perspective. So, it is very important to take opportunities in our lives, whether it be travel or, trying new organizations, things like that, to really just get out there and really see life from a different lens. A lot of our students do come to us with several previous internships in great companies. But what I always tell them is, even if you've done 3, 4, 5 business internships in the US, in London, going to Japan and doing a business internship in Tokyo, in one of the largest cities in the whole world, is a completely new experience. You're going to see how the Japanese conduct themselves in business and technology and finance, and it just does tend to offer quite a unique view and something that you really can't get through any other type of experience. Networking is definitely a term you'll hear a lot in any type of career preparation course, or if many of our students are, of course, in university, you're probably hearing a lot about networking and developing your network. This is an excellent opportunity to have that network get globally, expand globally. So, even if you've had a lot of good internships and you've met a lot of good people in your home country, take this opportunity to step into another country, get contacts in another nation, and try to really kind of broaden your horizons as far as people that have worked with you, who can maybe submit recommendations for letters for you at some point, or even recommend you for a job. It never hurts to have good connections with good people, especially outside of your home country. And this is kind of more tangibly the experience. It is obviously a huge resume or CV booster. When you're going to graduate college, or if you're looking to change career fields, it is very important to pretty much do everything you can to try to differentiate yourself. And taking on an international experience and being able to put that on your resume, your CV, is incredibly impactful. It's definitely not something that a lot of people get to have on their resume. And when you're applying to a job with several hundred or thousand other applicants, you really need to do everything you can to have your CV or resume pop. And this, of course, is one way to really enhance that. And of course, add some really solid project-based work experience depending on the field that you're going to be interning in. Now, the last one, I think this one is also quite overlooked, but the ability to just grow and gain some newfound independence. Going abroad in any capacity, but especially for a long-term internship of several months, it is very challenging for a lot of reasons. Maybe this is your first time ever leaving your home country, maybe even your hometown. That is in itself a great challenge. There's a language barrier. You're going to have to meet new people. You're going to be working in a completely unfamiliar environment, but people who can take on these challenges and make the best of them and turn them from a challenge into an accomplishment really says a lot about an individual's perseverance. These are things that you also want to highlight on your resume, because companies are looking for individuals who can do this, individuals who can take risks, who can go into unfamiliar environments. Maybe you can take on an international opportunity with this company if you are given the job, for example. So those are things that really do say a lot about one's character. And in addition to showcasing that incredible ability to really step out of the comfort zone. You're also growing so much as a person. You're seeing the world from a different scope, entering into a new culture, and just exposing yourself to things that, frankly, a lot of people don't ever get to experience. And so, again, the list is definitely not conducive to those four, but I do feel like those four really are the ones that I try to highlight when I speak to students. So the next topic we should cover is definitely specifically Tokyo. Why should one go to Tokyo? What are some of the draws to the location over others? The first of which I do like to try to just give a little bit of background. So for those who don't know, Tokyo is actually the largest metropolitan area in the world. It consists of about 32 million people. Tokyo is very commonly referred to as a city. I probably will mention it is a city at some point during this PowerPoint, but it's actually not a city. It's what's called a prefecture. So Japan has 47 prefectures, very similar to like a state here in the US, of all different sizes, and Tokyo is definitely one of the largest prefectures in terms of its economic output. And so again, I will refer to Tokyo probably as a city, although it is not actually a city. Tokyo is currently the governmental capital of Japan. It is home to the Emperor and Empress. You can actually go visit the Imperial Palace and take a public tour. Tokyo has this really, really fascinating vibe of kind of past mixed with future. So, Japan as a whole, they do cling very, very strongly to their ancient values of harmony and tea ceremony, kimono wearing, and things like that. But they also are, of course, really trying to drive innovation in many fields. And so there's a lot of really interesting nuance there. You could walk down the street, and on one side of the street is a 1,000-year-old temple, where right across the street is an anime cafe or an arcade or something along the lines of that. So just shows this really interesting kind of strange paradox of past and future that I do recommend everybody, try to see at one point in their life. Now, with CRCC Asia's programs, we do have 18 career fields that we offer for internships. Of course, we can offer all of them in Tokyo, but there are some that definitely kind of stand out as being particularly strong. Things like business, finance, technology really tend to kind of lead the pack, as well as like media, creative, marketing, hospitality. So if you are interested in learning more about the opportunities, I definitely suggest you fill out an application on our website and have a chance to speak with an advisor like myself to discuss more about your possible internship opportunities. So I could give you a list of 100 different things I recommend you see in Tokyo. It was very hard to kind of narrow it down to these couple, but basically the photo on the right is a representation of Tokyo. This is essentially the prefecture as a whole. It's divided into 23 wards, which are these different colored sections here. Every ward is very, very different in terms of its culture, in terms of its image. You have locations like Shinjuku, Shibuya, which tend to be very nightlife shopping areas. You have the Chiyoda ward, which is where the Imperial Palace is located. There is just a bunch of wonderful different things to see, especially as you go to some of these outer wards. They kind of tend to get a little bit rural. There's some great mountains around Tokyo that you can check out. But the top ones that I always say is, of course, the Imperial Palace. We did mention that, home of the Japanese royal family. Tokyo Skytree is one of the largest buildings in Japan. It is a kind of huge tower-looking landmark with a shopping mall and aquarium. There's also an observatory at the top. I already mentioned Shinjuku and Shibuya. There's other locations like Ginza, which are really good for nightlife shopping. If you ever see pictures of Tokyo with all those bright buildings, 99% of the time, those are photos of areas in Shinjuku or Shibuya. Sensoji is a temple. It's actually the oldest temple that exists in Tokyo and one of the oldest in Japan. It was established roughly 1,400 years ago, they believe, around 645 AD. And there are some other locations I also list at the bottom that are unfortunately, so Yokohama is a nearby city. It's actually in a separate prefecture known as Kanagawa. It's just a nice big city to go check out. There's a great Chinatown area in Yokohama. And Mount Fuji, arguably the most famous landmark in the entire country of Japan. Mount Fuji is not technically near Tokyo. It's probably about a 2-hour train ride, give or take. But most students who visit Tokyo at some point do want to go see Mount Fuji, or if you are there in the summer months, climb it. So definitely recommend, if you're there, between say, May to August, consider having a Mount Fuji climb as one of your weekend excursions, because I'm sure it's absolutely incredible. So these are some reasons as far as the internship specifically that I always like to highlight to students. With Japan, we did talk about this before, but the innovation of Japan is one that is incredibly strong. It's a reason why Japan is currently the 3rd leading economy in the world. Tokyo and the Japanese industries are really thriving in every aspect, and they're really trying to innovate in pretty much all fields. You have great automotive companies like Honda, Mitsubishi, Subaru. You have tech giants. You have gaming. They pretty much own everything gaming, whether it's Nintendo, Sony. They've invented Pokemon. They're known for anime. They're really trying to innovate, like I said, in pretty much every aspect. So even to work in any type of company, large or small, in such an innovative hub as Tokyo is one that, again, will give you such a lasting experience. And I think that it's really, truly something that you should take advantage of if you have the time to do so. Now, this is kind of mentions the sizing of companies. It is very true that about 99% of the companies in Japan are what we call like small to medium enterprises. So that also includes startups. However, Japan does still have a handful of massive companies. They're home to about 52 of the global 500 companies. So basically our Tokyo team, when it comes to your internship placement, we can pretty much look into every size company. Of course, we can never guarantee one or the other, but we can absolutely take your thoughts into consideration. And if you are somebody who really wants to try for a large company, or you really want to try to work in a startup, we can really take that into account and see how that would fit into our internship search, and hope to try to get you something that does align with your interest and what you're looking to get out of the program. This is a fun one that I always like to talk about. This is more so in the recreation aspect, but I always like to say people who go to Tokyo really have a great chance to explore their geek side. I mentioned Tokyo is home to, Japan I should say, is home to so many massive organizations that kind of fit into like the leisure aspect of gaming, Nintendo, Sega, Sony, Pokemon, again, all things anime. Most of our students who go to Tokyo probably are really into anime. There's even a whole district of Tokyo, which is this photo here, known as Akihabara. It is appropriately nicknamed the Electric City. And basically anything anime here is huge. There's Naruto cafes, there's actually an Attack on Titan amusement park in Tokyo. So anything, if you're into anime at all, this is pretty much as good as you're going to get in the whole world in terms of experiencing that firsthand and fully. So I always say people definitely take some time to have some fun, get out there and explore some recreational aspects of Tokyo. Of course, anime being one of the biggest ones that it's famous for. And the last one I always like to talk about is the ancient history. We did mention this before with Tokyo. Some of the buildings in Tokyo are some of the oldest in the entire country. This is actually a photo of what is called the Thunder Gate. So this leads into the Sensoji Temple, which is the oldest temple in all of Tokyo, one of the oldest in Japan, dating back nearly 1,400 years, like we said. So all visitors who want to visit the Sensoji Temple, you pass through this Thunder Gate. It's actually guarded by two of the guardians of thunder. They're these big statues, and it's thought as a very spiritual thing to visit this temple that has literally stood for nearly 1,400 years, which is pretty crazy when you think about the history of the country. And I totally recommend. This is absolutely on my top 5 list for visiting, like I said before. So that wraps up kind of some of the reasons why one would want to go to Tokyo. Again, I could pretty much talk your ear off forever. And if you did want to hear more information and you wanted to book a call with one of our advisors like myself, definitely submit an application. These are some more details about the program in particular, things that you can expect as far as inclusions and support. So we mentioned that the career fields in Tokyo, our organization does operate across 18 different career fields. We have finance, we have nonprofits, we have legal, we have you pretty much name it, but these are 3 that I try to highlight as far as Tokyo, because it does tend to be incredibly great. So media communications, this involves things like news, radio, animation, creative, graphic design, a lot of different opportunities for students to get some good exposure here. That's definitely one of the more popular across Tokyo. Technology is another big one. We have great app development companies, game design, robotics, AI, you pretty much name it, we can probably look into it, large, small. There's a lot of wonderful startups in the tech field. Tokyo is a huge hub for that. So if you are somebody who wants to try to get some really good hands-on tech work, put your Python and C++ and Java skills to the test, maybe work with some robotics or AI development, definitely consider Tokyo. And marketing is probably our most popular sector, our career field across every single location. We have, small marketing companies doing social media, doing SEO, doing more creative advertising, graphic design, you pretty much name it, festivals, things like that. So a lot of great opportunities if you are interested in any one of these 3 fields. Again, we operate all across the 18, but These are some that we always try to touch on if students are interested. And these are the inclusions. So essentially we include much more than just the actual internship. That is the first point here. We get you, we have students select their top 3 career fields out of that list of 18 that I just mentioned. You basically pick a first choice, a second choice, a third choice. And if you do proceed with the program, you are 100% guaranteed an internship in one of the 3. That's essentially how the process works. For some students, depending on your citizenship, you do need a visa in order to enter Japan. We will work with you to get that solidified and get all the sponsorship ready if that is needed. Again, it depends on the citizenship. For all of our students, we do provide fully furnished accommodation. It's typically shared apartments. You know, let's say 6 students to an apartment. Everybody has their own bedroom. You guys share the common, the common areas within the location. And if you are somebody who wants to look at some photos, you can check out our website. And under the Tokyo tab, there are some photos about the accommodation that you can kind of see what the typical intern has as far as housing. Now, as far as our program team on the ground, they do a lot of really wonderful things to help the students while they're there. One of the biggest ones is the airport pickup. So students all arrive on the same day, which is their program start date. We do have you arrive at the Tokyo Haneda Airport. And if you are able to do that on the proper day, our team will actually come pick you up from the airport, bring you back to the accommodation. We get you all checked in. The following day is our big orientation, our big induction course. We do pretty much a whole day event introducing you to the city, to Tokyo, meeting our team, meeting all the other interns. It's a wonderful kind of first weekend to get settled for the internship. We have a bunch of great events we put on. We do cultural events. We've done tea ceremony. We've done drum lessons. We've done kimono lesson. There's a lot of really wonderful culturally tied things that we want to try to highlight to our participants. We do community outreach. We volunteer with festivals, community cleanups, food banks, YMCA, you pretty much name it, and then business seminars. So these are much more focused on the professional development aspect. We've done guest speaker series. We've gone and visited different organizations for private tours. I'll show some photos in the next couple slides of some examples of events. And we typically try to do one per week. So we do try to rotate the categories for at least one event per category per month. And the 24-hour support and guidance, like I mentioned, our team on the ground is really there to help you pretty much every step of the way. Someone like myself, who's an admissions advisor, my role is to help the students from what we call the pre-departure. So basically the time you commit to the program until you actually leave for, say, Japan. Once you get to Japan, you're then handed over to our program team, like I said, who does all of the on-the-ground support. We give students Metro card, phone, SIM card. We have that big formal welcome dinner. You can read about some of these other inclusions as well. So again, it's much more than just an internship. It really is a comprehensive overall cultural immersion experience that I really think offers numerous benefits. And like I said, I could literally go on forever. So I mentioned some of the photos. So this is an example business seminar. We had a really nice turnout for one of our speaker series at one of the local hubs for different networking opportunities. We've done, like I said, community cleanup festivals. This was actually in Shibuya. We do drum lesson, tea ceremony. We've done indigo dyeing, a lot of really kind of fun things to introduce you to the culture, the volunteering aspect, and then of course the business landscape. And these are things that I tried to put in to kind of suggest weekend excursions. These are not included typically in our program. Sumo is obviously the national sport of Japan. I recommend you try to get tickets for sumo. It's actually really, really difficult to do that. It normally involves you getting up at about 4 a.m. and waiting in line for 5 hours. I remember when I was in Japan, our group went to try and go get tickets. We waited in line for 6 hours. And the person who was in front of us actually ended up getting the last ticket. So I have yet to see sumo. So if you get to go see it, I will be very jealous, but I definitely recommend that, as well as things like baseball. Depending on when you're there and time of year, you can go see baseball, you can go see soccer. Sensoji Temple, I've talked ad nauseum about it. Go see Tokyo Tower. Go walk through Harajuku and see the unique fashion. That's actually right near Ueno Park. Ueno Park is a large kind of collection of grass area in Tokyo. It's actually where a lot of museums are located, and in the springtime you can see, of course, the sakura, the cherry blossoms all bloomed, and in the autumn it's also quite beautiful. So as you can see, a lot of great things we recommend students do on their weekends. What we typically tell students is, of course, you are working full-time, 40 hours per week, but when you're not in the you're not in the internship, when you're not doing any of our events, we recommend you, get out, go travel all throughout Tokyo, go take a train down to Kyoto, Osaka, go see Fuji. Like I said, just get out and go explore this, the location, and go check out Japan. It's so many things to see, and I definitely hope you take full advantage of your time there. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for us, guys. I definitely had a wonderful time to get to speak with you about Tokyo. It is definitely the location that I consider my favorite, and it's where I have my most experience. So if you did have any questions, if there were any aspects of the program I did not touch on and you wanted to learn more, you can always, of course, first check out our website, read all about Tokyo, read about our other locations. You can email us at this email, internships@crccasia.com. This will go to everybody, and depending on the region that you're located in, the correct staff member will respond to you. And if you are somebody who wants to really try to take on an international internship and you're really excited for the opportunity, get on our website, submit an application, and book a call with one of our advisors, and definitely just consider your interest. And definitely, like I said, guys, really a pleasure to get to speak with you. So we do hope to hear from a bunch of you. Have a lovely rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining me.